just some of the things that she does on harp is just fascinating to me. It's not like other harpists aren't doing them, but there was a jazz attitude that Dorothy definitely had, and that can't be manufactured. You know, you could hear that she lived it.
Yeah, it's something that it comes back to something I'm always thinking about when it comes to music and any art. What part you can't teach, you know, the part you can't teach.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's what you're saying basically, is that she had that thing, that magic.
Absolutely, she had that part that you can't teach, and it really, for me, it comes from communing completely with the music. And sometimes a lot of sacrifices come if you choose to have that communion with it on an ongoing basis.
Have you found that to be true of your own career?
Yes.
I was going to get to the business of jazz down the road, or just the business of being an artist in America.
Yeah.
That's always seems to be, not that it isn't challenging anywhere you might be, but since this is our point of reference, it just seems like America can be very harsh on creative people.
Yes, it can be. And on the other side of that, as creative people, we have to be ultra committed. I was just reading something from Napoleon Hill, someone that sent me, and we literally have to be like a postage stamp. We got to stick. Once we're stuck, we stick to it regardless. There gets to be this relentlessness about it. And some people call it stubbornness or whatever you want, but I think a monk who, you know, was 15 years, was ostracized based on him making a stand, or at least sticking up for someone else when he was accused of having their contraband. But he remained an artist till the end.
Yes, yes. And do you find inspiration in that yourself, to stick it out? Is that where you're getting your inspiration?
I get my inspiration from a lot of places, but absolutely from looking at these old masters who they stuck to it. They knew that the music would take care of them in a sense. You know, Monk and a few other of those wonderful jazz aficionados, they had a panika, who, you know, who got behind them and took care of them. And there are others of us who have that. I'm very fortunate. I have an incredible husband who thinks I'm more than cute.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And has stuck with me with the music for over 15 years. And a number of folks who just say, you know, I remember once playing at a farmer's market, and there was a woman who said to me that she used to play harp, and you could tell she was a beautiful businesswoman, had a good job, but there were tears in her eyes as she tipped me $100 and said, "You got guts."
Yes, yes.
So, yeah.
Well, you know, when you say that, you know, your husband's your main support, so that allows you the latitude to kind of deal with the art part and not have to worry about, I guess, the revenue part and the commerce part of it.
Well, he and I do this as a team, and so we're literally, it's not like we have other jobs working at some other entities or supermarkets or something, so he and I do this as a team.
That's great.
Yeah, but it means the level of focus is relentless.
Okay.
So that's a lot of where that comes from as well. And then we have two other individuals, almost 300 individuals who have stepped forward, who assist with the business so that I can stay completely in the creative realm. So I have a wonderful woman who handles all of my booking, and then another wonderful woman who handles all of my social media.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, well, you are blessed.
Yes, but these are folks who have watched us over the years and just said, you know, with a little help.
Yes.
You know, they could really, I mean, because they're working hard at this. And so these folks, this is Joey Bright doing social media, and Jackie Birdsong James handling my whole contractual thing so that I can just stay in the creative realm. Because for a long time it was my husband and I writing out those contracts and sending out thank you cards to folks.
Yeah, and that just adds extra stress.
Yes.
To what you have to do, and you really want to devote yourself to the art, to the work of the art.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, you know, it brings to mind something, and I forget who told me this years ago, but it was several years ago. A jazz musician whose name escapes me now, but they said if you look at some of the jazz musicians that have managed to survive in this music, they all had women or ladies as wives or girlfriends who were able to handle the basic stuff of keeping the house together and the family together, you know, make sure the rent or the mortgage got paid.
Come on now.
And some of them actually acted as booking people or managers. You know, I knew when I used to call Jackie McLean, I had to talk to Dolly first. If you dealt with Lionel Hampton, you had to deal with his wife. You had, you know, Dizzy Gillespie had Lorraine. I mean,
Sonny Rollins.
Sonny Rollins, that's right. Was it Dorothy? I think was her name. I forget, Dorothea or something like that.
It was Dorothea, I believe it was. Correct me or tweet me if I'm wrong. And she actually also was a professor at a university, so
Yes.
he or she was handling that and his booking. So you're absolutely correct. It does help to have that partner, that friend, that somebody that says, you know what, hell or high water, I'm here.
Yeah, I love that, you know. And then, and so now, you're free to do what you want to do. And so what does that mean for you on a day-to-day basis? What is there a schedule that you're dealing with in terms of how you apply yourself to the instrument? Or?
Absolutely. I wake up in the morning first thankful that I'm waking up, you know, and I do a thing called mind mastering where I actually start to picture what my day is going to look like. But the night before, I've written out a schedule for myself. So once I've done my mind mastering, then I actually go to my harp and I have a series of scales of things, arpeggios that I want just to keep my hands warm. Then I have maybe some songs that I've already written or I've been studying from someone else that I'm working on, or even just some straight classical works, because that technique from the classical work is what allows most of us as musicians to have this fluidity to work. Then I go into some music that I want to study, just straight jazz tunes. It could be, you know, for someone it could be sugar, which for someone may be a simple tune. Applying that to harp may be different. Autumn Leaves, it could be Funny Valentine. It could be some jazz tune that I want to hear on harp, and it's applying what I know and that chart to harp.
What about the aspect of developing like improvisation on the harp?
Again, that is all of that, it's technique as well, but it's a complete listening and then applying what I've listened and applying what I've learned. So with my harp, there are 7 pedals at the bottom, and for those of you who are musicians, in order to create half steps and the chromatic that you hear in jazz, I've got to move those pedals. So I remember reading something on Dorothy Ashby where she said she would preset the pedals in a position and then she would work that position from there. So if you hear me doing something that for a horn player may be simple, it could be difficult as I chose to see it that way, but a whole lot of practice and a little bit of theory is what is what is done prior to make it look flawless on stage.
What about the physicality of it? Is there a difference between how you approach the harp in a non-jazz way as opposed to in a jazz way? Is there, I mean...
That's an interesting question. I hadn't thought about that really, but just if I'm thinking about it now, is there a difference? It all depends on the music. If I'm approaching, no, there isn't a difference, because I approach it with the same attitude, with the same relentlessness. I do. I can't speak for others, but I approach the music with that same attitude, whether I'm sitting with in an orchestral situation. I play with the Oakland Public Conservatory, and I've got to wait 174 bars before they actually have one measure of harp. I'm still there with the rest of the musicians until my part comes, and then whatever, if it's just a straight boing, it gets the same attitude as if I got a chance to play a full passage in that whole situation.
Okay. Well, what about, you know, we think that maybe historically we think of the harp as being more of a delicate sound also, and I think of this outside of jazz, but of course we just heard from Dorothy Ashby and Betty Glamon that even within the jazz context, that it also, you know, the nuances of it are really are beautiful. But when I think of like the instrument being portrayed in a more aggressive and more muscular way, Alice Coltrane is the first person that comes to mind, and with Dorothy also. But do you have a sense of that you're actually within the jazz context that you're playing with a little more muscularity?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.